nothing I could have done with the last 29 years better than this. Doesn't exist. Do we have slides?
Yeah,
We apologise, we're not very organised because we're on a month's holiday. And the day before we left, I thought, oh my gosh, we're going to Canada, we're going to do a presentation, we have slides. Kirsty said, I've got a couple of things here I did in Indonesia 6 months ago. We emailed them to ourselves, and that's what we got. It's not really that organised, but that's okay. We care, right? So our story is, we joined October 13th. It's a very lucky day. October 13, 1994, in Melbourne. We were actually, let's go back. We met in a band in 1989, December. Kirsty was the singer, and I went and auditioned for this band as the guitar player, and that's how we met. She was 19, I was 23, and it's a while ago, 1989. It's a while ago. It is. And we began to do music. I was working for a customs company by the airport, and I wanted to do music full-time for business. And really that's not possible. Even back then it was really, really difficult, right? But Kirsty's very innovative and driven, and so we very quickly in Auckland, maybe within 6 months I quit my job, we were earning the same amount of money just doing music, and she's doing voice and television, voiceover work and things like that. And I loved what we were doing. After a few years, it became work. The fun starts to go out of it, and we're just having to play all this music and that, not for fun anymore, it's more just to make money to pay the bills. And so in 1993, Kirsty said, let's go to Melbourne, Australia. It's really good for the television industry. It's very artistic, creative, and we thought we could get our career better going to Melbourne. To be honest, it wasn't that great. In Auckland, we managed ourselves, and we were in control of our business, and we actually did pretty well. In Melbourne, it was controlled by agents. It was a whole different thing. However, we met our friend Luella, who got us into this business. And we've been in Melbourne about 10 months, and we're on a tram one day. We weren't on a tram. We parked our car outside this hotel, and we walked along the river in 40-degree heat. She's from Melbourne. We walked along the river in 40-degree heat because there was a Mind Spirit Festival somewhere in the city. And so we parked our car, we're walking along, and it's a nice day, but I'm like bitching and complaining, and it was a crossroads. Kirsty's kind of doing quite well in Melbourne. I'm not so happy, maybe I want to go back to Auckland. And it was like that. And we went to the Mind Spirit Expo because we we're going to get some answers, some miraculous eureka moment, which didn't happen. But on the way back, we're waiting at the tram stop, which is right in the middle of the big main road. And this lady came up, and she was kind of scared to cross the road, and so we helped her, and she's from Sydney, and she said, I'm kind of lost. Can you help me get back to my hotel? And this is a little boutique hotel called the Richmond, and it's our car was there, the door to the hotel was right there beside. So we had to go that way. Within 10 minutes, 15 minutes on the tram, she got us curious about it, because she was a television set designer, so immediately we're friends, right? We're chatting about TV and music and entertainment and all these things. And she said, I have another business, and it's all part-time, it's nearly replaced my income. I'm going full-time in a few months. And we're like, what's that? And she said, glad you asked. And we got talking, and a few minutes later she said, well look, if you want more information, come up to my hotel room. I'll loan you, this is how old we are, right? I'll loan you a VHS tape. Do you even know what it is? It's a big old videotape. And you can learn a bit more about the business. So I grabbed this tape, and then she's sort of got me in the room, and she's presenting, and I'm like, it's Sunday night, I want to go home. So she went, boom, to the back page of her book, Add Some Incomes. And I kind of got interested. And we went home with that video, and we learned a bit more about the business. It's just a 10-minute video, but it's very good. They had all-pro quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys in America in our team, building Nuskin, all these great people. And so the next day she called up and said, I've got to go back to Sydney if you're interested. We're going to meet at 11 o'clock and we'll answer your questions. And she said, bring your checkbook. So, okay, we'll go along with, I just had questions, I don't want to sign up, right? We sit down, she brings out the forms for us to fill out to sign up. She's been very assumptive, and I'm kind of happy she did that because we bought a box of products. It was, I don't know, $500 or something like that. We went home, and a couple of days later, I'm thinking, I can't do this. This is skincare products. I know nothing about this. This is crazy, right? Lucky for me, she got my money. Right? It's true. Because we didn't know this lady. We just met her, you know? Now she's like a sister. I love her to bits. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Lord, you know? And lucky for me, she had my money. So within a few days, I thought, well, we'll go to a meeting. We'll learn a bit more. We've spent our money. We might as well try the products. And guess what? They were good. Even for a guy, I could tell this is quite nice. This is probably going to be successful, you know? And so we began our business. And it was a challenge because they were in Sydney, we were in Melbourne, that's 800 kilometres. Every phone call is 20 cents a minute, just on a landline. We're trying to call, tell people about the business, about these big phone bills, we're not earning yet from the business, it's crazy. No cell phones. Cell phones had these big long aerials. A few people had one, we didn't have one, right? Back in the day. So we, maybe 6 months, 7 months later, Luella called us one day and said, Malaysia's going to open. And our upline, Sean Brady and Luella, all the way to Nathan Ricks, they all talk about opening up new markets. If you can get in the ground floor before everybody else in a new country, you can be really, really successful, make a lot of money. And we thought that sounds like a bit of us. We didn't have family yet, so we had nothing to lose. Great, we'll go to Malaysia. So we had a garage sale and we sold all my music equipment and all the furniture and everything. That weekend we sell everything off, we're going to Malaysia, it's exciting, you know, and another week passes and we're sitting one evening, all we had left was a pair of PA speakers, the big ones, and so we're sitting on there eating dinner, these were the chairs, and she called and said, my gosh, Malaysia's not going to open. This was in 1995, and the reason was I'll blame the Australians, a lot of Australian blue diamonds and leaders in the business were shipping products, you know, pallets of products. We didn't have Nuskin didn't have the official license yet for Malaysia. They were waiting for approval, and it was too much activity. And we weren't even licensed to do business yet, so it didn't happen. Oh gosh, what are we going to do now? We don't even have a home. We cancelled all our work. We can't work in Melbourne. What are we going to do? And she said, it's okay. We're going to go to England instead. Do you want to come? We need to think about this, and after 5 minutes we call back, okay, we'll come. What have we got to lose, right? So in 1995 we moved to London, and it wasn't open yet, there was no products, and we were trying to develop our business. You're following along, thank you. And we're trying to develop our business, and we can't buy products. We're trying to maintain our products and customers, and it's open in Australia, but it's not open in London. Finally, November 8th, 1995, the company opened in London. And we started to build a group, and it started to be a little bit successful. And the few guys we had back in Melbourne doing the business all quit. It's a little bit frustrating for us. We've worked pretty hard there, right? Anyway, we started to build a business, and we're thinking international the whole time. So we heard that maybe the company will go to Thailand. And so one day, Kirsty and one of our friends, Chris, were walking around London, actually in Mayfair, and they saw this sign that read the Tourism Authority of Thailand. So they went up in the elevator, the doors open, these guys push them back and we're closed, you can't come in. They're all in suits and tuxedos, they're all going for some special dinner. And Kirsty said, well look, we need a business card because we're going to launch in Thailand. And they sponsored the marketing director for the Tourism Authority of Thailand, London. He used to send 300,000 British people to London every year, to Thailand every year. Do you think he was a good contact? That's how we built our business. So when we went to Thailand, Kirsty went first, in 1996, we spent almost 2 years in London, built some good business. We went to Thailand in 1996, we had a bunch of contacts. In fact, we had a whole bunch of people fly there with us from England who had contacts or who were Thai or whatever. And that's kind of how our business grew. And we spent a couple of years in London, about a year in Bangkok, and we were starting to run meetings like this, just for our group, a little bit bigger than this, and half the room were Filipinos. So when the next country opened, the Philippines, the following year, naturally we were going to have business in the Philippines. And a couple of our uplines, Sean and a couple of other people, flew there and said it's a great market, there's lots happening, and our business took off in the Philippines. We moved there in end of 97, middle of 97. Again, before it opened in the Philippines, with pre-marketing. This is all our own expense. The company pays for the products, the licensing, the warehouse, the shops, the showrooms, meeting rooms like this. We do everything else. So if we fly to this country, we're not earning a lot of money yet. That's out of our own pocket. We're entrepreneurs, that's how this works, right? So we were on the third country now, still not earning much money, struggling to feed ourselves, pay the rent. Luckily, when we were in London, we could play music twice a week at a cocktail bar at a big flash hotel to help pay the rent. We did that for 2 years. Part-time, playing music, doing business, doing Nuskin. So we went to the Philippines, and we stayed there for 3 years because we learned that each time we spent a year, we leave, most of the people sort of lost sight. We weren't there any longer, so they kind of lost focus. And we're not doing that again, so we stayed, drove, built a big group. And the meeting room in the Philippines, the company office, because Thailand launch was so big, the company office they opened in the Philippines was like about 10 times bigger than this. That opens up back there, right? It was huge. And so we started holding these meetings at the office, and we filled the place. Hundreds and hundreds of people. Every night. It was, right? And we were so busy, and everybody was kind of new all at once, that there was another meeting room about this size on the 21st floor. We were on the 22nd floor, I guess. And we would have a whole room full just for training. People that have started the business want to learn what to do next. And so this was crazy, but fun. We had such a great experience in the Philippines. I love the place. I love going back there. Changed our life. And finally, after 3 years there, August 2000, we became Blue Diamonds, which is, it's not the top level in the company, but it's when you really start to usually make some pretty decent income. And we could afford to have a nicer apartment, instead of the one that was in the red light district. It was not very, we moved to a nicer area. I don't know how we got the business. I don't know how anybody believed us. We're in this crazy old apartment. You got to do what you got to do, right? Actually, it's probably a lot easier now because social media, the whole world's connected.
Yeah.
Back then, we used to shift countries with a suitcase under one arm, a fax machine under the other arm, high-tech bar, right?
Yeah.
That's the technology we had, fax machine. It was crazy. And we did that, and we finally had some success, and we flew home to New Zealand, and I asked Kirsty's dad, will he let me marry her? After. And I used to tell this joke that she won't agree to marry me until we make enough money. And it's not really true, I don't think. I hope. But this was 11 and a half years later, we finally got married, and we bought a new car, new house, and just had the fun with all the hard work. And then, before the end of that year, because Nuskin learned its lesson about opening international markets, the company sprung on us Singapore. We didn't even know, because they didn't want to screw it up, right? Like what happened before with Malaysia. So, oh my gosh, we rent the house out. Meanwhile, Kirsty's best friend wanted to do the business. Our real estate agent wanted to do it. So I'm better stay in New Zealand. We had this bunch of new people in New Zealand want to do the business because they saw us successful, and all of a sudden they believed us. Before they did, I don't think they believed us. And Kirsty decided to go with Luella and spend some time in Singapore. We just got married, and we're back and forth. And I'll let her come up and share some of that part of the story. Please welcome my beautiful wife, Kirsty.
Actually, as I made that last slide about our journey, and as I was looking at it, Paul was speaking, it reminds me of something that was shared in Dubai. You know, most of you know we've just come from an incredible company trip, a 10-week trip in Dubai. And it might have actually been something that Sandy Tillotson said, who she is one of the original founders of Nuskin. And she said, you know, this is a business of becoming. Do you know what I mean by that? And it's like, it really struck me because that has been our journey in the business. This is a business of becoming. Becoming what? Becoming a better person. Becoming, better, becoming a better parent, becoming a better friend, becoming a better leader in your community. It's all something that happens on your journey in Nuskin. So, as Paul shared with you, our journey to Blue Diamond was not easy. In fact, I remember coming across a printout of one of our checks in our 3rd year in the business, and it was for $250 for the month. And so how many people would maybe have quit when they were getting that kind of result? But we always knew from the beginning when we made the decision to join Nuskin that we were not going to try Nuskin. We were going to do Nuskin until it worked. And coming from Dubai, I mean, that city is incredible. Who's been to Dubai before? That 30 years ago, that was sand and ocean. They've built over 250 skyscrapers in 30 years. How incredible. That is a city of becoming. But that would not have been easy. And just like Nuskin, it's like you fail 3/4 of the time, you succeed 1/4 of the time. But what we have the opportunity to do is create a life that most people will never experience. So when we got to Blue Diamond, we really thought we had arrived. We went back to New Zealand and we bought this BMW and we had a fancy wedding. But the group really consolidated back in the Philippines. And this is kind of what happens. It's like this journey of up and down. And your success in it is really, do you have the capacity to grow and expand and tolerate that up and down? That's just business, right? So when Singapore opened, I went back to Singapore, we created a great group there, and then eventually Malaysia. And so it was awesome in 2001, 2002, we came back to Malaysia and built some beautiful people in our group. And we really were working so hard at that point. We got to Blue Diamond, we cruised for a bit, we noticed that the group consolidated, we went back to work. But really along the way, that there was always these moments where you either question what you're doing or not. And I think that's something, if we can share anything with people, people often ask us, what is the secret to success? Because we were not fast starters in this business. But the one thing we had in our advantage is when we commit to do something, we're not just going to try it, we're going to do it. It's like the sense of you're stepping across the line. There's no avenue of retreat. When we moved to these countries, it wasn't like, well, we've got a good bank balance, we can always go back to a job. We really made that decision. And so tonight, we are going to focus a little bit on India. And you guys don't have to go to India like we had to go to those markets. It's a very different landscape, and Paul will share more about India. But, why would we expect this journey to be easy? Because it's a business of becoming. It's really a business of becoming. We moved back to New Zealand at one point, and I was sharing with someone today that we tried to go for Team Elite when we lived in Malaysia, but we really weren't in the right mindset. We Blue Diamond, we'd probably dropped back a little bit. We started working hard to get to Team Elite, but something in our mind, we weren't in our mind, we weren't that level. So we didn't believe it ourselves. How can our prospects believe it if we didn't believe it ourselves? We invested a lot of money and did Anthony Robbins courses. We were constantly improving ourselves because that's really what's required in the business. Can you click to the next slide? This is Stephen Llewellyn, who sponsored us in the business. Nowadays, we get to meet them up with them in different parts of the world and see them on the beaches of the world. Can you go next? Some of you might have met Sean and Sherry Brady. They are 20 million, actually not meant to say that, so I won't say that. Incredible people.
Okay.
in our $20 million circle earners, Australia and American. And Sean, at one point in our journey, Sean really got tough with us. I don't know if any of you have ever, written down goals, or often when we come into the business, or even just in our life, we kind of puddle around with setting goals, but we're too afraid to set big goals. We're too afraid to really dream big, because what that means is we actually have to do something about it, right? Or often we think, that's just not possible, I don't believe it. Well, Sean really was firm with us early in our journey at Nuskin. You have to get serious about writing goals. So we had always written down that we would have a massive international business, and we would have a massive business in Indonesia. So when Indonesia was on the horizon and Indonesia was going to open, without any effort really at all, we recruited 3 different lines in New Zealand. We're back in New Zealand. I had my baby. We attracted, Paul might even tell a story of how he met one of his people. This is just an example of, if you have the big dream, India, you will plant that seed of intention, but you have to keep it. You have to keep the faith that you don't have to know how that's going to happen. You just need to know that that's something you want. So we had 3 legs of Indonesian people living in New Zealand, moved back to Indonesia when Indonesia opened. We did not live there. We do not know the culture, but we had that goal for so long, that intention, that the right people came at the right time. So that this power of setting goals is so critical. Some of you know Nathan Ricks. Nathan is really, our top mentor in the business. This is back in the opening in the UK. Nathan Ricks is probably most of your upline, right? And sadly, Nathan passed away last year. But these are the people that really inspired me in the business to want to become a better person. Nathan wasn't all about making a lot of money. Nathan was about being the best person you can be and living by your standards and your values. Just keep going. So I thought, just keep going. I would just share a little bit. You've heard a little bit about our story. It was up and down. It was difficult. It was not easy. It was not fast. We had to pick ourselves up many times. We've now been in the business for 29 years. We've been retired for the last 15 years. We have not worked the Nuskin business. We have enjoyed a phenomenal lifestyle. And I don't tell you that to brag, because that's not your life, it's my life. That's how I chose to work this business. And we've committed because we believe this next stage of Nuskin's experience is not to be missed. We also believe Nuskin's pledge of being all in to back us up, we need to show that responsibility and be all back in as well. For our team, for Nuskin, because we are a family. So this is the lifestyle that we created. Back home, we live at the beach. This is the kids probably don't even know. There's some photos of them in here. We live at the beach. Just go through them. Keep going. Just flip through them. We homeschool our children. We homeschool. It was one of my reasons for doing the business, to have that freedom, to be able to wake up in the morning and say to myself, what do I feel like doing today? And having that choice and that freedom, which we did not have being self-employed in our industry. And so through those efforts of Nuskin, we have that freedom. We homeschool our kids. We have a farm down the road from where we live. We run like homeschool groups. This is Charlie driving our buggy on the farm. This is like our school. It's like a nature school. A camp on the farm. Just keep going through. We have horses, we have stock. This is, just pause for a bit, this is on our farm, a community garden project where we teach people, we have people come and learn how to grow their own food in a permaculture style, food forest style setting. And this is really important to me, that we can give back from the privileges that we have. We can use our land and we can use our resources to help other people. It's a business of becoming. Paul shared with you that our background is in music and television, and we always dreamed about one day when we have that freedom and we don't have to go to work every day, we're just going to be in a band for fun. And that's what we did. Paul built himself a recording studio. We have a band. We've got our songs that we're recording. We've even got a song on Spotify, YouTube, just for fun. We don't have to answer to anybody, right? Thank you. We have a beautiful boat. We love fishing. We spent a month, all January, on holiday. We've just spent this last month on holiday. That is not interesting to you because it's not your holiday, it's my holiday. But I share that with you because who do you know in the 4th month of the year has already had 2 months holiday? And their business is still growing. Their business is still, ongoing. That is a phenomenal business, but we had to pay the price. We had to pay the price. What you get the chance to create in Nuskin is what most people will never have. They will never have that level of quality of life. Not just freedom, but money and that personal growth, the family, the friendships. But most people will not do what is required to do it. It's not hard. It's not difficult. Actually, a very simple business. It's a fabulous business. But it requires some work, some growth. We go skiing. Last year we went skiing for about a month. We get to share these experiences with our kids. And we love to travel. It's one of the things that has just been our greatest, the thing that we're grateful for. We've taken the kids. In fact, in the old days, because we loved to travel in business class, they were so little that we took them in business class with us. So they've travelled to most of these countries, the most of them they don't remember, in business class, and now they go in the back of the plane in economy because we want to teach them, right, the hardship of real life, right? Is this right, guys?
Yeah.
They've travelled with us to Vietnam, Hawaii, Italy, France, Singapore, Cambodia, England, Australia, Tahiti, Thailand, Fiji, Sri Lanka. We've just been to...
Yeah, now Malaysia.
Now Malaysia. Oops. Did I just turn it off? Yeah. Maybe it was that? No? And, what a phenomenal opportunity to be able to provide. We've also taken my family with us. And again, I'm giving you this bird's eye view of our life to show you what is possible through this incredible, phenomenal vehicle that is just unmatched. Now, we've just been, as I said, in Dubai. It was a phenomenal trip. It was Nuskin's 40th anniversary. So this is the company that has a track record. Could you go back to that one? That has a track record that is really, it's like squeaky clean. What a company. It's a company that does good. They have nearly fed 1 billion children through their Nourish the Children program. Fed 1 billion starving children throughout Africa. I just find that phenomenal. But some of the information that came out from Dubai is incredibly exciting. Nuskin is really reinventing itself. They've had a really challenging last few years as they adapt to this changing marketplace. But the messages that we really felt in our heart, we really received it loud and clear, was that Nuskin is on track to become the world's #1 beauty, wellness, and lifestyle ecosystem. Because people are looking for opportunity. And no matter how many jobs that AI replace and take, and how much the world changes, people are always looking for empowerment. People are always looking for opportunity. They want to feel better. They want to look better. They want to live longer. They want to have better relationships. They want to have more fun. So there's no vehicle that can offer what we can offer. And Nuskin pays up to 40% for those who choose to participate and grow that brand. Now, I just find that phenomenal. What else could you do with your time? If you're a smart business person, smart business people put their time where they're going to get the best return. Right? And there is nothing. It's unmatchable. All right, I think that's me on this. Yeah, that's fine. So I'm going to get Paul up and he can share with you a little bit about, some of you have probably already heard about some of the new products that the company is launching with Mind. We really wanted to talk about India because our focus in the last 29 years has been building international business. And we have business in many, many countries around the world. We did it the hard way by traveling to those countries, right? Our easiest market was Indonesia, back in our home in New Zealand, recruiting Indonesians living in New Zealand who travel to those markets. But it only happened because we focused on it, we thought about it, we dreamed it, we visioned it year over year over year. So I'm going to get Paul up to share with you a little bit about India. Who is excited about India?
Yeah.
Actually, while I was listening to Kirsty talk, we used to live straight across the street here in a building called Corinthian. We were there for a year, and every morning before it got light, we would walk to the park, walk around KLCC, and do our affirmations and exercise and run and go, etc. One morning, I was doing some affirmations. The sun's not even up yet, and I got this visualization of Indonesia. And the company hadn't even mentioned Indonesia yet, but we're focused on Malaysia. And I saw this big arena with all these people waving flags, and everybody was a massive group that we built in this, and Indonesia came to my mind. This was years before we went there. Remarkable how that works, right? Just got this vision, if you like. And Kirsty mentioned we went back to New Zealand and found these great people. I met Andy, one of our leaders in Indonesia, at a gas station in Auckland. He'd been studying in New Zealand for a bunch of years. He's pumping gas while he was looking for something to do. And just doing that, our business exploded over into Indonesia. Some of you have met Lani and Ronnie, some of the other leaders we have. Fabulous, fabulous people. We're very grateful to have met these people and experienced that success. Dubai, Nuskin 4.0, the Year of the Dragon, the Year of the Affiliate. It was a fabulous event in Dubai. It really blew my mind what the company's up to. All the presentations were amazing. All the experiences we had that they shared with us, boat tours, and all the stuff we did was amazing. We were like racing up and down in an SUV V8 in the sand dunes. Have you ever done that? It's kind of scary. It's like a roller coaster ride. It's freaky. We were in the back of the car there, but it was fun. Aside from that, for me, the most powerful meeting, the most powerful part of that whole event, I got a message from Charlie Patterson, one of the big team leads in the US, and I went to this room right after the general session, and there was maybe less people than this, maybe the same amount of people as this in this room. Private meeting, and in walks Ryan Napierski. He's the president and CEO of Nuskin. He runs the company worldwide. Himself and Steve Hatchett, another phenomenal individual. Nuskin acquired his manufacturing company in more recent years, maybe 2018 I think it was. He's been in manufacturing a long time for lots of companies, and he manufactured LifePak in 1992 before it was even called LifePak. And our company acquired that company, acquired Steve along with it. He works for us now. He's a phenomenal individual. It's just, I don't even know how fast he is. He's just brilliant, this guy. I was in the Gold Coast a few months ago with a leadership conference we had there, and my friend and upline, Sean, was speaking there, flew out from the US, and him and I shared a car with Steve to the airport, and we ended up going to the wrong airport and found out it was actually Brisbane Airport, not the Gold Coast Airport. So we were in the car for like 4 or 5 hours with Steve. We had dinner together, and him and Ryan and Justin Kiesel run the company right now. These are the top people. So I'm in this meeting, and these guys are at the front of the room, and there's only some of the rich. I mean, I was probably the least successful guy in the room. This is the biggest people in Nuskin were sitting there. And we didn't just sit for 30, 40 minutes, we were in there for 5 hours. They refused to let us record anything because it's a public company, and some of the things he was sharing, what we're doing in the future, where the company's going, it's a public company, he's not allowed to do that unless it's officially launching. And I came away from that meeting just feeling more confidence. We fell in love with the company 29 years ago. This recent trip to Dubai, we fell in love with it all over again. I've got tingles on my neck now sharing with you. It's really unbelievable. For anybody new here who doesn't know much about our company, it is unbelievable. I just still can't believe it. You know, that they keep innovating, they keep pushing the boundaries, they keep reinventing themselves so that we have an opportunity for life that we can will to our kids. We can will this business to our kids. Ryan Napierski, the president and CEO, shared a short story. She had 5 hours of stories actually. A few other people spoke, but he was mainly there. And he said back in, I guess it was probably 99, 2000, his immediate boss, Dan Chard, was not fired, but he was kind of let go. It was just the direction the company was taking. So Ryan figured, I must be next. So he kind of got the jitters. He thought I might be going someplace else. Meanwhile, he got approached and recruited and headhunted from Avon. Avon, I think about an $8 billion company at the time or something like that, big company. And they wanted to run their operations. They offered him a lot of money. He was quite a bit younger at the time. He was a pretty young guy. He's been with the company about the same amount of years we have, but on the corporate side. And he went and flew out to meet with them, and they made him all these great offers. And they said, you know, if it doesn't work out in a couple of years, we'll pay you $8 million US just to break up the company and sell it off. This was the offer he got, right? So he flew back to Provo, Utah, and he met with Truman Hunt, who was running Nuskin back then. He was the president and CEO. In fact, he took the company public. And he met with him and said, look, I got the feeling that I probably don't have a lot of opportunity going forward with Nuskin. I'm going to do this, I'm looking at this, I'm looking at that. And he goes, I just think that. There's no way we're getting rid of you. And I was so impressed with him as a young man. And so he said, well, you've got to go home now and you've got to decide, do you want to break up companies? Do you want to break companies? Or do you want to grow them? Do you want to be a breaker or a grower? So this was a defining point in his life of what he wants to do. He flagged the millions and millions of dollars, and he would not have been earning that much money in Nuskin then. He was a smaller, way smaller position back then. And he decided to stay with the company and be a builder. And he went on to do great things. And now he runs our company. He talked about a lot of us leaders in the business, we're always talking to the corporate people who run the office, and they go, and we always say, you have no idea what we do. You know, you run the office there, you do all this accounting, and you make products, and you sell them, and you ship them. You have no idea what we do out there in the trenches. We're the hard workers. You guys just run the office. You have no idea. And he shared this story that he spent 2 years. I said, don't give me that crap. I spent 2 years of my life in South Korea trying to sell religion to the Koreans. Because they're from the Home Office of Utah, the Church of the Latter-day Saints, and they go on mission, and that's what they do. And he said, don't tell me I don't know what you do. I've been trying to flog religion to the Koreans. I know exactly what you do, and it's tough. Even then we got on to India. Ryan first flew to India in 2004 in preparations for launching India. The company's been going to India for many, many years. Is it the right time? It's a certain amount's got to happen. It's a complicated market. Things are accelerating there. The middle class is growing there. Technologically, everything's expanded there in a big way. I got a few fun facts for you guys. 1.4 billion people, fastest growing economy in the world right now. Fifth largest economy in the world at the moment. In 2018, direct sales did $1.7 billion. Last year, $3 billion. Growing 13% year over year, every year. So by 2030, we'll be $5 or $6 billion industry of direct sales. 12 million distributors at the moment in a few companies. 65% of the population are under 35 years of age. 65% of the population are under 35 years of age. You know who does this business big time? 30-year-olds. all that hard work we did, we were in our 30s. 30 to early 40s, right? After that, we get a bit tired and we want to have the good life.
Unless you're Audrey at 70, and she's like,
Well,
she's an
my God, 80.
exception.
But there's always exceptions, but generally it's that age where you want to get out and make your life happen, right? And so that's a great statistic. 910 million Gen Z, 44 million millennials. The middle class is 3 to 350 million people, and it's going to double over the next 20 years. That's the trend. 1.2 billion people on the internet, 88% have cell phones, smartphones. 470 million people on social media. Number 1 and 2 are Facebook and Instagram. In direct sales, Herbalife is leading the way. In the old days, we used to follow Amway around the world. They'd go first. And great company, successful company. They'd make some mistakes and learn, and we would go in and learn from them and do better. Or be, I always talk of us as more like a high-tech version. That's how I always think of it. Even though they're great companies. Same with Herbalife, we'll follow them. The heads of all these companies, they all know each other. They're all at big direct selling association meetings from time to time, and they discuss what's working, what's not working, right? So we follow and learn from what they're doing, and they're doing really, really great. There's 2 local companies, as well as Herbalife, that are doing great things. But you know, there's 100 to 200% duties to import products to India. It's complicated. So what's Nuskin going to do? Manufacture in India. When you do that as a proper international company, it has as much credibility as if it's imported product. If you do it at that level, the way Nuskin operates, that'll keep costs reasonable so we can go in there and be productive and be profitable. So we'll be manufacturing locally. I think Malaysia has a big advantage with India. Do you agree?
Yes.
Yeah.
Probably the biggest.
Yes.
I love the fact that, you know, in an existing market, you could have some great-grandfather or something that has Indian descent. You can apply to go do business in India. That means we don't have 1.4 billion people in India, do we? However, many other 100 million around the world and all this. Well, there's a lot in Australia, a lot in New Zealand, a lot of Indian community everywhere. It's really, really immense opportunity for us. One of the key takeaways for me is when Nuskin perfects our system for India, this opens up so many other markets we have not been able to go to. If we did it 20 years ago when they first went there, it probably wouldn't have worked out so well. Now's the time. You know, so it might be 100 other markets once we have a system that works very well there. This is powerful. The key though is to have, if you're serious, and we've done a lot of this around the world, as you've just heard, right? If you're serious, you need a bunch of blue diamonds in your team now before India even opens. You want to develop as many successful people, so it's not just a bit of an experiment. You've got a bunch of people who go there, who have contacts there, who are already earning, already successful, so people believe them and they run with it. Make sense? You can say, if you're talking to people about the India opportunity, I have friends, Paul and Kirsty, Sean, John, and John Immerman. It doesn't matter. There's so many leaders you know who are successful, right? That you've met, some of you're close with. You can say, I have friends that have made tens of millions of dollars with Malaysia, Philippines, maybe Singapore. Not India. Way more vast. You know, we've never opened a country that big, and yet we've been very, very successful in this business. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So don't take it lightly. It's going to be enormous. If we can do just a snippet of what we did in China, the biggest checks, even though China's complicated for our companies, some regulatory workarounds, right? The biggest checks in our history for distributors came out of China. And so I get excited, goosebumps, I think about what can happen with India. And you guys are at the ground floor. You're before first, right? You're before first. And people like to be before first. Is that fair?
Yes.
Yeah.
So the timing is just amazing. there's a whole lot we can share. There's a whole lot of Zooms we can give you links to learn more details, specific presentations about how that's going to work. I do want to be transparent and say, you know what, we're all working this out as we go along. It's a big place over there. There's going to be changes. There'll be challenges. Every country we opened, there was, oh, I didn't expect that to happen. There was challenges. Pioneering has challenges, but the upside far outweighs any challenges. I just wanted to prepare you, because that'll happen. There'll be changes, there'll be challenges for sure. But it's going to be huge. I know it. Please welcome back Kirsty for a few minutes just to share and perhaps wrap up. Any other thoughts? Is it a different one?
Yeah, the next one. Yeah, so I suppose just this last, stage is, I don't know, who's actually new in the room? Is everyone sort of already in Nuskin, or is anyone looking at this? You're awesome. Thank you for coming. So, some of this, if you're just sort of looking at Nuskin for the first time and just seeing where you might fit in, I'm going to run through what I would be doing now if I was you, and what I will be doing back in New Zealand, because there's like a window of opportunity. Do you know that saying?
Yes.
And every day that goes by, the window will get smaller. Every day. And whether you know someone who is Indian descent or not, that's not important. Because I might sponsor Nikki, who's not Indian, but I don't know who she knows. Right now, all you need to do, you don't even need to understand the complexities of who's going to be able to travel to India, how's it going to work, how's the commission going to work. Don't worry about that. After 29 years in the business, I trust the company will do its utmost to sort that out. I don't have to worry about that. What I need to do, because every day that passes, the window is closing. You'll always be able to build in India, but that window of being a pioneer, of being on the ground floor, that's where it really counts. So here would be my key basics. It's about getting back to basics, right, and mastering the basics. So right now it's like this wave, and some people will watch what happens. Some people say they're going to watch what happens and are just going to see. Some people will wonder what happened because India will open and they've missed it. And others will make it happen. You've got to decide who you are. Just skip the next one, Paul. This is Charlie, when he was little, too, playing the drums.
Charlie, you're a superstar.
Yes, he's phenomenal on the drums. And the reason I've got this up here, because this is a fabulous business of, we're in this together. You can go fast on your own, but you can go far by duplicating, by working together in a team. And it's about finding a system that works and duplicating it. I want to share this with you really quickly because it is in your best interest to develop habits that are habits of successful people. And I've studied this a lot. You change your habits, you change your life. And you just got to decide what are the habits right now in your life that are serving you and what are the habits that are not serving you. And you think, what does this have to do with building in India? It has everything to do with building in India. Because if you do not master yourself, you are not going to do what's necessary to build a big team before India opens. Successful people read and learn about their craft 30 minutes every day. Reading about being a leader, learning about the products, learning about building rapport with people. There's so much to master that will make you a better leader. Just keep looking through. That's fine, keep going. So, whoops, just go back. So, it's things like, 40%, understanding 40% of your waking life, you're actually operating from your subconscious. So by understanding that, you can change, how you are operating. You make a decision to become a master of yourself. Set up your day, not scrolling through your phone. getting back into exercise, preparing your mindset. These are all the choices that you can make. It's like deciding from today that nothing will be the same. If I am to capitalize on the India market, nothing can be the same as what I've just done in the past. What is going to be different from tomorrow? I step across the line and I make that commitment to be bigger, better. Keep going. So your daily promises to yourself, keep going. I won't bother with that one. I think this is really important. In Nuskin, in life, we have good days, we have bad days. And it's really easy to be a good Nuskin distributor. It's really easy to be a good leader. It's easy to be a good parent on a good day. What counts is what do you do on a bad day? Right? When you're feeling bad, when you're feeling like a failure, when you're feeling like you can't be bothered, when you don't want to do it. That's what counts, that's what makes the difference. And this presentation I actually did in Indonesia, and I was talking about surfing. Surfing is actually a really hard learning curve. But it's about deciding every time, every day, I want to be better, and I'm showing up as the best version of myself. Dreams and goals and intentions. If there's one thing that I would do as you leave this room tonight, is decide how big is your group in India. Don't worry about how that's going to happen. Decide how many Indian blue diamonds do you want living in Malaysia.
I forgot to share.
Oh, yeah, you can do that again. How many blue diamonds, Indian blue diamonds, do you want in your team by May next year? Right? In this window of opportunity that's closing every day, you decide. It doesn't matter if you don't even believe it. Just write down the goal. And success comes when your dreams are bigger than your excuses. Right? Actually, I'll get everyone to do that now. Just point ahead. Point your finger ahead. Okay, so you can point, right? You can point at someone else. You can blame. But how many fingers are pointing forward and how many fingers are pointing back? 3. Right? So you can make excuses. And I know it's tough in these markets. I've just been on a trip to Indonesia and people are buying the product and then underselling it on marketplace, and it's really hard to, people are sort of losing their trust in Nuskin because they're buying it at different prices. You just have to put your blinkers on, right? And have your goal, and every day, it's a business of becoming, every day, you're expanding, you're growing your capacity, you're recruiting, you're talking to people about the products, and you've just got to stop making those excuses, right? Yes, building this business has its challenges, but we just keep our eye on the end in mind. Remember that conscious brain processes 40 bits a second, and the subconscious brain is 40 million bits a second. We have to be so careful what's in our subconscious brain, because that's what's directing us every day. You're a failure, you can't do this, you're going to stuff up, that person's going to quit, he won't be interested. You've just got to be aware of what's going on in your subconscious mind and replace it, right, with what you're focused on and what you want. Thank you. So having big goals. Bethany Hamilton is a top global female surfer. She was attacked by a shark and she lost an arm, right? And her quote, I love it. Like, my passion for surfing was more than my fear of sharks. So after she got attacked, she got back on her surfboard and she competed at world champion level. But her passion for surfing, like I feel it, passion for surfing is bigger than a fear of sharks. Your goals, your vision, your passion for becoming who you are destined to be has to be bigger than your fear of failure, your fear of rejection, your fear of not being good enough, your fear of the group disappearing, people quitting. And so it's so important to have these goals and this intention and be part of your Nuskin family. If you can't, you must. And if you must, you can. So it's finding that must, finding that why. Our kids were a big part of our why. and level up. So these are all the things that I would be doing if you want to participate in India. Expand and grow your capacity. Grow your capacity for challenges. Grow your capacity to lead your team. Great leaders help people follow them, but amazing leaders teach people to believe in themselves. You know, you can have people follow you, but the minute you step away, like we did in the Philippines a little bit, we had to really empower those people to believe in themselves so they could be leaders. Build people up. So building a Nuskin empire requires focus and discipline. Discipline of your mind, discipline of your actions. Mind over matter. Create your mantra. Whatever you focus on is going to become. Focus on what's not working. If you focus on, what you don't believe about yourself, that's just going to grow. Try again. Your wave will come, but only if you're in the water. Only if you're talking to people every day, sharing this opportunity. So this would be my mantra to leave you with, right? I am in full control of myself and my habits. I rise above and beyond my limitations. I'm always expanding and growing. I'm always giving. I'm always giving to others. This devotion to your downline, to your team. This is what grows a group over time. I live by my values and never make excuses, right? I deserve to achieve my heart's desire. Do you believe that you deserve? Do you deserve to have this incredible group growing into India? Do you really believe that? And if you don't, work on it. Change it. Believe it. And I am unstoppable. You might not feel that every day, right? But you just keep showing up, get in the water, keep trying to catch the wave, and if you've got that goal, you've got that vision, you will attract what is necessary. So, do you want to share, wrap up? Really that's it from us. This is so simple. We experience so much in Dubai, but right now it's just about bringing it back to the basics. Bring it back to simplicity. We know we've got a great product. We know we've got a great company. They're not going to build this for us. It has to come back to us. And all we can say is that it's worth it. It's worth it for the outcome, but it's worth it for who you become in the process. So I don't know if anyone has any questions they want to ask, or whether we sort of wrap it up now and you guys can come and speak to us. Nikki, Michael, what would you prefer?
You can leave it open to any questions they want to ask you.
Would anyone like to have a little bit of questions? Has anyone got any questions?
Melania,